Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Dangers and Dragons podcast. Ready for another dose of captivating stories and legendary adventures? I'm Adri, your host, and I've got an electrifying tale for you today. One that'll make you think twice about the colors you see and the feelings you feel.
And I'm Julia, your geek guide here to help you decode all the hidden meanings and thought-provoking layers woven into this story. Get ready for some serious mind-bending.
Okay, so picture this. You're in a city that's completely drained of color. Everything is gray, buildings close, even the sky. Music is banned. Announcements blare constantly. And get this, even emotions like laughter and tears are strictly monitored. Can you even imagine living in a place like that?
It's like living in a black and white photograph, isn't it? The story does a fantastic job of conveying the sense of oppression and emotional suffocation that permeates this society. It makes you wonder, how can people truly live without the full spectrum of human experience?
Right, and that's where our main character, Anya, comes in. She's this young woman who refuses to let the regime crush her spirit. While everyone else conforms, Anya finds ways to inject color back into her world. She collects scraps of paint, little drops of rebellion, and uses them to create these vibrant, emotionally charged figures in hidden corners of the city.
What's so powerful about Anya's art is that it's not just about aesthetics. It's a direct challenge to the regime's control. Each splash of color, each expression of emotion is a tiny act of rebellion.
Absolutely. And you know what's even cooler? She's not alone. She finds two other young artists, Ben and Maya, who share her passion for color and her hunger for something real, something beyond the regime's sterile control. They form this sort of underground art movement, transforming the drab city walls into canvases for their emotional outbursts. Imagine stumbling upon their work in this gray world. It would be like a jolt to the system.
It reminds me of those real-world examples of art as protest, like the graffiti art that emerged during the fall of the Berlin Wall, or the powerful murals that adorn conflict zones around the world. Art has this incredible ability to give voice to the voiceless, to challenge authority, and to spark dialogue.
And in Electric Hearts, the art definitely sparks something. It's not like people start openly revolting in the streets, but there's this subtle shift in the atmosphere. Anya notices a flicker of recognition in a passerby's eyes, a child mimicking a pose of joyous rebellion from one of their murals. It's like the seeds of change are being sown one brush stroke at a time.
It highlights this fascinating concept called the tipping point. Sometimes all it takes is a few small acts of defiance, a few brave souls willing to challenge the status quo, to set in motion a larger wave of change. Anya, Ben, and Maya might not realize it at the time, but their art is planting the seeds for a revolution.
Of course, their little rebellion can't stay hidden forever.
Right.
Eventually, the thought police, the regime's enforcers, catch wind of their activities and swoop in for the arrest. But instead of throwing them in a dungeon or subjecting them to brutal interrogation, the regime tries a different tactic: correction.
And it's actually far more insidious, wouldn't you say? They pump the cells full of this syrupy tranquility music and force the artists to take emotion-numbing pills. It's like they're trying to erase their individuality, their very essence, by making them conform to this bland, emotionless ideal.
It's terrifying, really.
Yeah.
It makes you question what happens to a society when it tries to eradicate human emotions. Don't we lose something fundamental about what it means to be human?
Absolutely. This story is a powerful reminder of the importance of embracing the full spectrum of human emotions, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Suppressing emotions doesn't make them go away, it just makes them fester and grow stronger beneath the surface.
And Anya, despite being subjected to this correction, she clings to her memories of color and beauty. It's like she's built this internal world that the regime can't touch. Even bland prison meals become canvases in her mind, testament to the power of imagination to transcend even the bleakest of circumstances.
Her resilience is remarkable, isn't it? She refuses to let the regime completely extinguish her inner flame. And that inner strength, that unwavering belief in the power of beauty and emotion is ultimately what sets the stage for her escape.
And it's not a dramatic Hollywood-style prison break either. It's more about seizing an opportunity, slipping past guards who become complacent in the city's monotonous routine. They almost blend into the grayness, becoming invisible to the very people who are supposed to be watching them.
Even the guards, the supposed enforcers of this oppressive system, seem to be subtly affected by the pervasive apathy. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the regime's control is starting to crack.
Their return to the city is both exhilarating and terrifying. They're no longer just artists. They become symbols of resistance. And when they see what's happened in their absence, it's like the city itself has undergone a transformation.
And here's where things get really interesting. Remember those crude neon figures Anya Ben and Maya painted? They're now being echoed on walls all over the city. It's like their art has gone viral, spreading a message of defiance and emotional liberation. The suppressed feelings of the people are bursting forth, reclaiming the streets with color and raw expression. The city's becoming a canvas for their collective awakening.
The thought police try to crack down, but it's like trying to put out a wildfire with a water pistol. The paint spreads faster than they can contain it. The city is ablaze not with fire, but with feeling rage, laughter, fear, hope. All those emotions that were forbidden are now on full display. It's utter chaos, but there's a strange beauty to it. What do you make of that?
It's a powerful visual representation of what happens when you try to suppress something as fundamental as human emotion. It's like the city itself is rebelling against the imposed order, embracing the messy, chaotic reality of being alive.
Exactly.
It's fascinating how the story uses color as a symbol, almost like a character itself. The initial grayness of the city reflects the oppressive atmosphere, the stifling of individuality. But as Anya Ben and Maya begin to rebel through their art, the city literally comes alive with color.
It's almost like color becomes this visual representation of freedom and emotional expression, right? The regime is trying so hard to control everything, to force people into this mold of gray conformity. And then suddenly you have these bursts of vibrant color challenging that control. It's just a striking contrast.
Exactly. And that contrast is further emphasized by the way the story juxtaposes the regime's attempts at correction with the characters' embrace of raw, unfiltered emotions. We see this stark difference between the sterile, controlled environment of their confinement and the chaotic beauty of their art and their feelings.
Yeah, think about that tranquility music they're forced to listen to, or those emotion-numbing pills. It's almost comical how the regime tries to sanitize human experience, to eliminate anything that might disrupt their carefully constructed order.
It's eerily reminiscent of some dystopian novels, isn't it? The idea that controlling language and expression is the key to controlling thought and behavior. But what Electric Heart so brilliantly demonstrates is that the human spirit can't be so easily contained.
Right. And that brings us back to that underlying tension between control and chaos that runs throughout the story. The regime represents control, order, uniformity, this idea that everyone should fit neatly into their predefined boxes, but the characters, through their art and their emotions, represent chaos, freedom, individuality, the messy, unpredictable beauty of being human.
And ultimately, it's that embrace of chaos, that willingness to break free from the constraints of the regime's control that leads to their liberation. It's messy, it's unpredictable, but it's also incredibly liberating.
For sure. It's like they're saying, hey, life is messy, emotions are messy, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's essential to who we are.
What I find particularly compelling is that the story doesn't shy away from the complexities of this newfound freedom. The aftermath of the regime's collapse isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's chaotic and uncertain. The characters are left to navigate this new world where they have to figure out how to live without the imposed order they've always known.
Yeah, like when the story describes the neon-drenched nights after the regime falls as a cacophony. There's arguments, grief, the weight of rebuilding, this simple, terrifying task of living without the enforced emotional order. It's a stark reminder that freedom, while exhilarating, also comes with responsibility.
Exactly. And that's where the story really resonates, I think. It challenges us to consider what true freedom really means. Is it just about breaking free from external constraints? Or is it also about embracing the complexities and responsibilities that come with self-determination?
That's a great point. It ties back to that question I asked earlier. Would you risk everything for a chance at true freedom, even if it meant embracing chaos? It's easy to romanticize rebellion, but Electric Hearts reminds us that there are always consequences, both positive and negative.
Absolutely. It's not a simple binary between oppression and liberation. There's a whole spectrum of experiences and challenges in between. And that's what makes this story so thought-provoking. It doesn't offer easy answers, but instead invites us to grapple with these complex questions about freedom, responsibility, and what it means to be human.
It definitely leaves you with a lot to think about. It's one of those stories that stays with you, makes you feel. It makes you want to go out and create something beautiful and meaningful, even if it's a little messy. And that's what we're going to explore further in part 3.
Welcome back to the Dangers and Dragons podcast. We're wrapping up our exploration of Electric Hearts. And trust me, the ending is where things get really thought-provoking. We've talked about the big ideas, but I think it's the small details that make the story so powerful. Like, remember how the author describes the city's dull gray sameness, or how the neon colors burned retinas accustomed to the muted half-light.
Those sensory details really draw you in, don't they? You can practically feel the oppression and then the shock of those vibrant colors as if you were experiencing it firsthand. And speaking of details, I'm fascinated by how Anya's defiance manifests. It's not this grand in-your-face rebellion, but rather this quiet, persistent act of creation. Exactly. It's like she's reclaiming her own agency, her own sense of self, one brush stroke at a time. And it makes you wonder, what would your form of quiet rebellion be in a world like that?
That's a great question. And you know what else is interesting? The story doesn't shy away from the darker aspects of human emotion. It acknowledges that freedom can be messy, even painful at times. The aftermath of the regime's collapse isn't all celebratory.
Yeah, it's not a fairy tale ending, is it? Remember how the neon-drenched nights become a cacophony after the regime falls? The story talks about arguments, grief, the struggle of everyday life without those imposed rules. It's a reminder that freedom isn't always easy or beautiful, but it's real.
Right. The story doesn't present a simplistic view of liberation. It recognizes that breaking free from oppression is just the first step. Then comes the challenge of rebuilding, of navigating a world without the old structures, and that can be messy and complicated.
And yet there's Anya's laughter at the end, raw and real, amidst that joyful wreckage. It's like a testament to the human spirit's ability to find joy even in the face of uncertainty.
It's not a denial of the challenges, but an acceptance of them. It's like saying, yes, this is hard, but it's ours to shape now. We have the freedom to make mistakes, to learn, to create something new.
It's a powerful message, isn't it? It's about embracing the complexities of freedom
Yeah,
and understanding that it's an ongoing journey, not a destination.
absolutely. Electric Hearts is a story that stays with you long after you finished reading it. It makes you question, makes you feel, and hopefully inspires you to find your own way to bring a little more color and emotion into the world.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Electric Hearts, we want to leave you with this thought. What color will you bring to the world today? What small act of defiance or creativity will you embrace to make your corner of the universe a little brighter, a little more vibrant, a little more Yin-Ya-You? Think about it, and thanks for joining us on this epic adventure. Don't forget to rate and follow the Dangers and Dragons podcast for more captivating stories and legendary adventures. Until next time, keep those imaginations firing and those hearts electric.